Dr. Richard Boylan, Ph.D. type, is a behavioral scientist, anthropologist, University Associate Professor Emeritus, certified clinical hypnotherapist, a consultant, and researcher. Ooh. His career has also spanned 4 decades as a service as a psychologist, social worker, a retired clergyman, educator, and space anthropologist. Dr. Boylan is a consultant to Star Kids and Star Seed, seeking to understand their origin, identity, and mission. Author of 3 books, Close Extraterrestrial Encounters, Labor Journey to the Stars, and Project Epiphany. He is also the president of the Academy of Clinical Close Encounter Therapists, a not-for-profit educational and research organization. Richard, when do you sleep, for crying out loud? You're everywhere.
Well, tonight it won't be till 2 in the morning. George, how are you?
Good to talk to you. Good to, I met you at a conference about a year or so ago, right toward the end, and it was a pleasure doing that as well. Tell me, what have you been doing since we last talked a few years ago?
Well, I've been continuing to work with the Star Kids and Star Seed adults. For any listeners to whom those terms are not self-evident, let me say real quickly that these are people who've been transformed by connection with the star visitors. The 2 main ways people get transformed is either their parents are visited and some reproductive material is genetically upgraded, and when they are born they are more advanced, brighter, have a double handfuls of psychic abilities, generally are more robust, and have a pretty strong cosmic awareness. And these kids and adults are now in very great numbers in society and are beginning to make an impact as we transform our society from the kind of scary one world, New World Order orientation that you've been talking about to take it in a new and healthier direction. And they're going to put a lot of muscle and brain power and even psychic abilities to that task. So we've been doing workshops and talks and meeting with kids and grown-ups and trying to raise consciousness. I've got a new book out since that listing got printed. Star Kids is the name of it, and it talks all about them. And, of course, writing that has consumed much of the last year.
Now, when you talk about there are many of these children on the planet, how many are we talking about, if you could estimate for us?
Well, yes, I've done some research sampling technique, and the results are, to put it mildly, astounding. Let me give you some global figures, because this is a worldwide phenomenon, and the numbers are just going to dazzle people. My estimate now that, the UN tells us there's 6.3 billion humans alive today, and in my estimates, 59% of them are Star Kids or Star Seed adults. Now, that doesn't mean they're all awake yet. Many people know they're different, they feel different, they can't quite put their finger on it. They know they have unusual abilities that nobody talks about in the newspapers or on television, but in many cases they are aware of contact, telepathic or in person, with star visitors. But they're in the closet, or maybe they haven't even had contact and they're just walking around knowing they're a little bit different but not clear why. But when all of these people wake up as this phenomenon comes out in the open and starts to get on the broad general media, these people are going to really snap to and realize why they're different, why they're...
Now, Richard, how many meetings did they have then? We talked about 2. Did they have any more than that?
In terms of full meetings of everybody, there were the 2.
At what meeting did they basically ratify everything? The second?
The second meeting is where the agreement was ratified and brought to conclusion. when we were talking last time, we talked about the elements of the deal on both sides. I can speak about what happened after they went their separate ways in terms of following through on the agreement, which in some ways is the rest of the story. The Star Nations kept their side of the agreement. They're honorable people and operate from very high metaphysical and spiritual principles. The same cannot be said of the four governments involved. There have been firings on Star Visitor craft from time to time, and one of the counselors said to me that the humans say, well, it was a mistake or a misidentification or human error. We didn't mean to do it, but of course it's happened and did. One of them was even captured by astronauts who were in orbit in a space shuttle, where a neutral particle beam weapon beam comes up from the Earth towards a Star Visitor craft that's hovering at the edge of atmosphere, and it makes a radical right turn at the last moment.
Yeah.
And
I think we've seen that video.
Yeah, a lot of people have seen that. That's just documentation that the deal was violated and that they've continued to fire on them. There, of course, have been various reports of downed UFOs since the 60s, and those were no accidents. It was deliberate shootings because these cabal-type folks want to grab these vehicles and tear them apart and back engineer them and find out what makes them tick and take that technology and reproduce it so that they can have advanced weapon systems to rule the world with. They've continued to ambush and kidnap and interrogate and torture star beings when they capture them from shot-down craft, or in some cases using energy signature detection, intercept them on the ground on the way to interact with a human. They've misused the flight altitude restrictions on Star Nations craft to continue the UFO cover-up for decades, and because the UFOs were generally required to fly very high in the sky, the government has said, well, all you saw up there was ice crystals or inversion layers or migratory geese. The technology and science information that the Star Nation shared was appropriated by cabal scientists and taken to their labs and re-engineered into things like psychotronic mind-influencing weapons, using some of the advanced physics and energy information to create scalar energy artificial earthquake devices.
Richard, weren't we concerned that they were going to blow us up if we were trying to shoot down their craft? I mean, they must have had weaponry and technology far superior to ours.
Yes, but what the four governments came to understand is that the Star Nations are very strictly ethically bound by the 11 universal laws and the 11 spiritual laws of the cosmos. And these principles do not allow them to be anything but truthful and honorable, and when they give their word, they follow it through, and they're not going to get down in the gutter and play at the level of the cabal just because that's the level the cabal's playing at. And so there was a kind of a mismatch ethically between one side and the other in this. They went on to do things like misusing the genetic samples that these various Star Nation races had to give them to do gene splicing and cloning of hybrid human super soldier clones. My friend Dr. Michael Wolf, before his death, told me about that. He was in that project for a while before he figured out what the Army was really trying to do and washed his hands of it.
Yeah, it really plagued him, didn't it, once he found out what was happening?
Yeah, when people see that recent movie out about clone super soldiers, that's Hollywood imitating reality.